would say 7 years because that's how long it's been in development, but probably in the time that I've played Hollow Knight and some of the other games that have had my interest, but I've basically been waiting for this game to come out for somewhere between 5 to 7 years. I've played around 20 hours, maybe 15 to 20 hours so far, and I just finished Act 1 recently. I'm definitely gonna admit that the difficulty of the game is much higher than Hollow Knight, even towards the end of Hollow Knight. I would say some of the difficulty is consistently high throughout Silksong, and in a way you do, because you do get stronger as you play Silksong. In a way it shows how well balanced the game is, because if you're getting stronger and the game feels consistently difficult, which has been my experience so far, it feels like they've balanced it like that very, very intentionally. Of course they have, but it's even more obvious, I think, in Silksong, because you just stay at that consistent level where it's like everything is scary, every new environment is scary, because you don't want to die and lose all your rosaries, which are already very hard to come by. And there's nothing worse than being completely broke on rosaries and then coming across the anti-homelessness benches that are all around Farloom. Of course, I mean the fact that you have to pay sometimes pretty substantial amount of money to actually get a bench to go online and then save your progress. Overall, despite the difficulty, I've been really, really enjoying it. I think my favourite bosses so far have been, I would say it's between the fourth chorus, which is that giant ant-looking thing with, I think he had four hands, and he's got this like big golden metallic body, or armour. And I really, really enjoyed that fight because it was hard, it was challenging, but it was still like there was enough time to know what the move that's coming is based on the animation. And the second boss that I would say was my near favourite was the judge. The reason for that is for the same reasons. I love the aesthetics of that boss, but also the design of the actual moveset that the boss has was just predictable enough to be challenging. So you still have a really good time trying to figure out the way past the boss. But you're also getting better with every fight, I feel. The hardest part, more than the boss fights themselves so far, has been if you lose to a boss, the walk back to that boss is usually quite challenging, or can be challenging depending on when you last sat on a bench. But sometimes even the nearest bench to the boss requires you to do some pretty precise platforming skills in order to actually get to reach the boss. On the positive side, the music and the level design is so good. It's so detailed and intentional, and you can tell they've put so much effort into the art and music and the feel of the game, the atmosphere of the game, which is sometimes hard to focus on when you're very tilted and trying to make your way back to the boss as fast as possible. But I would actually say that the reason, if you are someone that's struggling in that game, the reason you're struggling most likely is because you are rushing into the boss and you're not being patient to learn the movesets of the boss, and having a more calm approach with getting to those bosses might save you some life before you get there, but also you don't need to try and whack the boss as fast as possible. You can whack him once or twice when it's a very easy opening. Don't take the risky shots, it's just not worth it. Especially because some of these bosses, or most of them so far, can hit you for 2 health. And by the way, I'm not sure if that's a spoiler or not, but if you do reach the judge and you're struggling, the magma bell can really help, because a lot of the more surprising ways that the boss can damage you is through the fire, and the magma bell prevents you from taking 2 damage from the fire hits. You'll still lose 2 health if the boss hits you with its body or with the chandelier thing that it swings around, or the bell thing that it swings around. But the fire will only do 1 damage, which I think is the reason I was able to beat it. Really greased up my hands with the E45, because I feel like this microphone picks up the dry sounds a lot easier, but not in the best way. I think it needs a little bit of muffle, kind of reduce the friction a little bit to make it sound better. The moveset as well for Hornet is much more advanced than Hollow Knight, which is I think why so many people are struggling, especially because in the weeks coming up to the release of Silksong, most of the die-hard fans of Hollow Knight have been playing a lot of Hollow Knight, have been playing Hollow Knight in preparation for Silksong. However, I would say that Hornet feels extremely different to Hollow Knight in the speed, in the pacing in which she fights. She's a lot more fast, precise, and mobile from the get-go compared to Hollow Knight. And so, for that reason, I think people are trying to use her a little bit like Hollow Knight when he was like late game. But they do feel very different, and you do have to get used to it. That in mind, I did also see a ton of people complaining about, or saying things like, I think this is as far as I'm gonna get. I'm not gonna get any further, and I don't really know what to say about that apart from it's totally okay not to like the game, or to say the game is too difficult. It's totally okay, because it's supposed to be fun, and at the point that you stopped having fun, you can either change your attitude and try to be more patient with the game, but if that's not your idea of fun with a game, then it's probably not the right game for you. And that's totally okay. It's like trying a new dish or a new restaurant and being really disappointed that you don't like it. It's alright, it's just not your cup of tea, and you can just maybe enjoy, if you really enjoy the art style and the story, watch someone else play. That's what all these walkthroughs are about. I've always been quite drawn to the more challenging games. When I first played Hollow Knight, I discovered it on the Switch, and I liked it so much that I bought it on Steam, and I also bought it on PlayStation, and I platinumed it on PlayStation, meaning I got every trophy, and I would say that was one of the hardest platinums that I've ever achieved in the game, and that's after playing Elden Ring and platinuming that, and Sekiro and Dark Souls in general. The games that are known to be quite difficult, I really enjoy, and so for me, Silksong is the best game, and probably has my favourite style of art and music. So I'm gonna try to play this game as slowly as possible, because it's tempting to try and get as far as I can and explore as far as I can. But Silksong or in Hollow Knight, to get to a dead end, you would feel like you're about to unlock a new amazing move or unlock an item that helps you really progress through another part of the map. Very, very often you'll progress through a difficult part of the game and you'll get to a dead end, and in the end the reward is just some rosaries or some shards. And I think whilst that is maybe a questionable decision from Team Cherry, it's also potentially the reason. What I'm trying to say is that maybe it's not about having to explore, it's about taking on the challenge and getting fluent at the moveset, getting fluent at the map with the map, and taking it all in as you go along. It's not just about the reward at the end of the tunnel, it's about the tunnel itself. It's about the tunnel itself. It's about the tunnel itself. I really like if I had to pick a favourite ability from Haunted, I really like the floating. I don't remember what it's called. But at some point you unlock something that lets you kind of jump and then drift in midair, like an umbrella. And it kind of looks like an umbrella too. And I really like that. And it allows you to create so many changes in pace when you're jumping over enemies. You can quickly do it and then switch direction. It gives you so much mobility, but it's not flashy. It's like a very simple, and also the animation is very charming, I would say. So far, I've bought the game on the Switch too, and the reason for that is because Nintendo almost never does good sales. So I thought, if it's going to be out full price everywhere, I'll buy it on the Switch. And then eventually, when it's on sale on Steam, I'll buy it on Steam. And I'm sure by then it will be part of the PS Plus plan or whatever, or PS Plus Extra. So I expect that within a year it will be part of PlayStation or Sony's library of games that you can just subscribe to a membership and get it for free. You know what I mean? And the reason I think that is because it's going to be part of Game Pass for Xbox, and I think Sony will want to pay out and include that in its library also for all of its players. Speaking of PlayStation, the other game I'm also kind of very curious about playing is Ghost of Yotei. Maybe I've pronounced it wrong, but it's the successor to Ghosts of Tsushima, or at least it's made by the same people it looks like, and that's the game I really want to try at some point soon. But I think I don't really want to have too many games in progress that I'm enjoying. I think it's best to stay focused and take it all in, like I say with Silksong, because it's such a big game, and as much as I'm 20 hours in and I finished Act 1, I don't actually know, and I don't want to do research and find out whether there is only 2 acts, but there's probably 3 if I had to guess. I don't know. And I think even if you finish the story, there's going to be so much more to explore and do in Silksong. I think that's Team Cherry took 7 years to make this game because they really enjoyed developing every aspect of it, and I think they had so much time to think about how they want this game to sound and feel, and how they want it to play, and what you can and can't do, even if it's a small silly thing like throwing some dice with an NPC. They want to sprinkle all of these little details and this attention to detail to make it very memorable and unique experience. And the last thing that I haven't spoken that much about it is that they released this game that's been in development for the fact, and they knew that, it's not like they didn't know that most people would still pay out that much ridiculous money for a game that is a relatively small team game. They knew that, and they still decided to do their fans this favour almost. I hope you've enjoyed this ramble, and keep in mind that everything I say is my own specific opinion based on my experience. You do not have to agree. I know that the fandom for this game can be very split, but please just consider it to be my opinion. You do not have to agree or think the same things. In fact, I'm very happy for you to disagree and leave your reasoning in the comments as to why you disagree with anything that I've said. I might even reply to you. So, enjoy if you're playing, enjoy if you're watching someone else play, and enjoy if you don't care or know what